Welcome one, welcome all. When I mention Xcom, I dare say you think of the fantastic yet brutally difficult turn-based human versus alien invaders game series, which has been successful since the 90s. I'm actually showing footage now of the latest entry, the Xcom 2 collection, which I highly recommend. But there's another that actually strays away from the Xcom formula and has been largely forgotten, so let me try and bring it back. The game in question is Xcom The Bureau Declassified, a 7th gen hit which is still trapped physically on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. I dare say you could probably get it digitally on more modern consoles. And it is absolutely brilliant. Now I'm going to say from the very start, it's not the perfect game. There's the odd little glitch here and there and quirk, which I will cover of course. But something about this game makes it one of my favourite 7th gen games of all time. So I feel I owe it to myself, I owe it to you, to give you the opportunity to find out about this wonderful adventure and see if it could become one of your flawed favourites. The setting is late 1962. It's the height of the Cold War. You are William Carter, and it plays very much like a 1950s B-movie. At least that's my take on it as well. And it does lean perfectly into that style, which is one of the charming things about it. It even keeps itself authentic with the time, with lots and lots of smoking, and of course, day drinking. Ah, the good old days. I think I'd have done well back then. You are playing as William Carter, tortured special agent, and you begin by delivering a mysterious briefcase at a military base. All quite simple really, quite standard affairs. Obviously you're an upstanding agent, so you've not looked inside or even wondered what's there. You've just sat around playing cards, smoking and drinking, when all of a sudden you're attacked. Oh no! And wouldn't you believe it, just to add to your bad luck, the entire military base is attacked by E.T.'s angry cousins. After fighting your way through the base and meeting the alien menace on the battlefield for the first time, you finally manage to get to Myron Falk, Director of the Bureau of Strategic Emergency Command, who instantly recognises your promise and recruits you. The Bureau, it turns out, is a top-secret military organisation, created to be used in the event of Soviet invasion. Remember, this is set during the Cold War. And it is now going to be used to defend the United States of America and indeed the world against the extraterrestrial menace. For followers of the Xcom series, this is the 8th title, and the plot is a prequel to 2012's Xcom Enemy Unknown, which in itself a reimagined version of 1994's Xcom UFO Defense, the first game to use the Xcom title. Now we will jump back to the base and command centre as a good portion of the game takes place here, but I want to get to the combat because that is the thing that sets this game apart from any other game in the series, as it's not turn-based. This is obviously a huge difference to every other game in the series. It was known for being very well done turn-based combat, but they actually did go with an element of real time here. Now, I'm not the biggest fan in the world of turn-based combat. I play it from time to time. Xcom is one of those few series which I do play that has it. But I was definitely intrigued when I first found this game, way back on the 7th gen when it first came out. But as you can see here, it does have an element of squad combat still, and that's done very well. The way you access it is quite simple. You go into a hub, you can control yourself, or indeed your two teammates, because you only get two to go along with, and that's where you can select their abilities. You get various different abilities with different classes, from the scout who uses a sniper rifle and can do an uber powerful shot, to the engineer who can set up a turret. Scouts can also set up holographic decoys, to trick enemies into firing at them instead of you, and your own character's abilities have things such as an alien blob under your command. You can lift up enemies out of cover so you can all shoot at them. I will say some of this does depend on what you select on the skill trees as you go through, because all characters can be upgraded as they gain experience throughout combat, and that's when you can select the different abilities, but that's just giving you a small snippet of quite a wide variety. Now, the only other thing you can do with every single character is you can of course tell them where to go. Logically, what you want them to do is go into cover and shoot from there, as at its core this is a cover shooter, one of many we had on the 7th gen, just with a really unique twist. Obviously your own character you control in real time and you shoot at like many games of the type. Your colleagues you want to be sending to cover and to shoot from there. And that is where one of the major criticisms of this game comes in, as your teammate AI, your intelligence of your teammates, is low. It's very low. You'll send them into cover, and for some random reason they'll decide to move without being told. And they do like to move in front of the bullets. Yeah, I don't know why, but they'll come out of the nice nestled bit of cover that you've placed them in to keep them all safe and cosy, and decide to stand right in front of the alien guns, necessitating healing numerous times. Now, the higher the difficulty level, the more time you will inevitably spend healing and looking after your comrades. As with the other XCOM titles, once they're dead, it is permadeath, so you then have to go with another agent from your roster to replace them, level them up again, things like that. So don't name them after your pets, because it will be very upsetting when they die. With that caveat and setting of expectations, I do however want to say that the combat is fantastic fun. Yes, I've mentioned the negative because I feel anybody who's heard of this game would be expecting me to and criticise me if I didn't. But that doesn't take away from the sheer joy of the combat. You really can play it strategically, as the enemy AI, quite frankly, isn't that bright either. So flanking manoeuvres, things like that, are an absolute joy to pull off. When you raise an enemy up using your elevate enemy ability and you have them all concentrate fire on him, and you get the skill points, or the experience points I should say, for a multi-kill, it's satisfying to know that you've pulled off a strategic attack well. And I still believe to this very day, having played through the game numerous times, that the good strongly outweighs the bad. You get used to the style of the AI, you get used to it not being perfect, so you micromanage it a little bit. Fortunately, when you go into that strategic circle option, as you can see now, it does slow down time almost to a stop, not quite, but almost, so it gives you plenty of time to think and position and manage things. I've not played a game with teammate combat quite like this, and it's not perfect, but it's absolutely brilliant. I love playing it, and I look forward to every single encounter, and I hope that if you choose to play this game, you will see the positives strongly outweigh the negatives, as I believe they do. Location wise, you do go from various towns in small town America to indeed alien ships and everything in between. You will find that the environments become a little bit samey with this stainless steel metal aesthetic. The reason being, well, at least the reason the game gives, is that the aliens terraform wherever they go and try to turn it into their own area. It is a bit of a workaround, I dare say, with limitations of the hardware, but I think it works really well.
Deploying blob!
Now, I mentioned of course about having a roster of agents, something any XCOM fans will be familiar with. That requires us to go to the war room in the base, although this can be controlled from the main operations computer as well. You select the agents you wish to recruit by type, class, and then send them out on missions on their own if you've got the opportunity, or take them with you. And of course you can select their equipment as well, and you get better equipment as you play the game. Standard really. So let's have a look at the main operations room. It'll look very familiar to anybody who's seen pictures from early NASA missions, including the first moon landing. You go to the main computer. This is where you can decide on the missions that are side missions, where you send some of your squad to get some experience and of course defeat the aliens, and you select your own missions to go ahead with. It's quite a linear game, so generally you've only got 1 or 2 missions, and the main missions of course have to be played. I would advise playing the side missions, as you can get some pretty cool equipment along there, as well as getting some experience and just more gameplay, more fun. I've already mentioned the base is well flushed out. You can see here we're in the director's office, where we get our missions and indeed our intelligence, although of course he doesn't tell us everything straight away. We're on our way now to the laboratory, going past the war room where we've already been, where you've got the standard mad scientist who is so excited about what he's learning. He seems to have forgotten about the little matter of the extermination of the human race. Kind of important there. I don't know any mad scientists myself, so don't know how true to life that is. It is story rich. I love the story of this game. A story in a game is just as important to me as gameplay, if it's going to be of decent length and keep me engaged. And this absolutely fulfills that. I think it is one of the greatest stories in this style of game, you know, aliens versus humans, that I've played still to this very day. And it is a 7th gen game, so it's not recent really. Now, I'm not going to go into the story in detail in any way, because I always try to keep my videos spoiler free, or at least as much as possible, because I want you to experience it. I don't want to take that opportunity away from you to experience the story of the game, which is one of the key things that will make you enjoy it. But please trust me when I say it is absolutely superb. I love getting to know the characters around the base, flushing out the story as much as possible. You don't need to speak to every single character and have every single cutscene if you don't want to, but I'd encourage you to, because it just flushes things out a little bit more and makes it just that little bit more entertaining. Yes, it's cutscene heavy, yes, it's linear, but I actually like that style of game, and I think if it's done well, you could too. During a lot of the conversations you have with the NPCs, you do have an options tree. Now, some of them you can ask absolutely everything or just get straight to the point, depending how you enjoy playing your game. Others, you do only get one option, however it does always steer you towards the same direction, as I've already said, it is a relatively linear game. However, as you're enjoying your playthrough of this game, it does have one last trick up its sleeve. Multiple endings. Well, actually I think there's only 2, but either way, you get to choose one of them, and you don't know which way it's going to go till it's too late, well, unless you look it up on the internet, of course. That adds to the replayability in itself. I think you'd want to replay this, just because having gone through it once, going through it again with fresh, more informed eyes, you can flush it out a bit more, find more collectibles, interact with different characters at different times, each to their own. I'm obviously a humongous fan of this game, so I'm completely biased. I do think it's a shame they didn't carry on and make this an additional entry in the series of Xcom and have multiple entries rather than just this one. It does feel very much like a one and done, as it does give a nice conclusion to the story, which is good, because nobody wants a cliffhanger that's never satisfied. But they easily could have made some more games like this, either with this being a worldwide invasion, completely different teams of people fighting, or just reset and just ignored this one and done it again. Maybe because this is real-time combat instead of the traditional turn-based, that's why the game didn't succeed and why they didn't continue with it. I don't know. All I do know is this is, dare I say it, a hidden gem on the 7th gen, and firmly one of my favourite games to pick up and play to this very day. I hope that I've inspired you to give it a go too, as it is also quite a cheap pickup. I would like to sincerely thank you for taking the time to watch my little video. If you've enjoyed it and you want to press like or subscribe, that'd be amazing. If not, you've watched, and that's plenty. And I'll see you very, very soon. Ta-da for now.